Hello and welcome back to my workbench. It is time once again to fix something. Today on the workbench I have a PS5 Digital Edition that apparently will not turn on. I think it's just a beep only. I think the description did say no power, but if it beeps it's not really a no power, is it? But let's just see how no power it is. If we could, I'm going to put that on. I saw a little bit of a dip there, so I think our power supply did start. Let's give it a second to initialize if it's going to. Press the power button. Nothing. There it goes. I heard a beep. It's very, very faint. Of course, the beep can be turned down on these things. The power on beep. So it's beeping. I did not see any signs of a light. Okay. So we beep. We're not totally dead. All right, let me get the covers off. And with the side plate off, it has been opened before, pretty obviously. And I'm also seeing signs of roaches. A little bit, yeah, there's some sign there's been roaches in here, so yeah, I'm not sure how bad it's going to be when we get in there, but let's get on into it. Well, our circuit board is out, and yeah, there's a little bit of roach nastiness on it. Not too much though, because there's not too much of the board that's exposed. But anyway, I'm ready to give this board some power. I've got my leads connected, hopefully the right way around. I'm going to give it 12 volts and see what it does. 63 milliamps, and kind of hanging there. Still hanging there. And back down to a normal idle. Try that again. That looks very odd, doesn't it? Hmm. Kind of makes me think of a short somewhere. All right, let me get set up and we'll start going through some power rails and see what we have and what we don't have. Okay, so we got like a 60 milliamp, 63 milliamp draw. Let's just see what we have in the way of power rails right here around this RT5126. I'll give it 12 volts. We have 3.3. We have 1.15. Do we have this 2? We do have that. Let's see, I'm pretty sure, like here's the Wi-Fi module. It's getting 3.3. Is it getting 1.8? It is getting 1.8. That looks good. This kind of smells of an SSD problem. Here's the fuse, F7502 for that. There's 5 volts on one side, 5 volts on the other side. Let me flip this board over. I'm going to turn the power off while I do it. See if we can check those SSD rails. Right in here. Let me get on one of these test points at the corner of this RT5127. 2.5, that looks good. What about over here? 0.8, that looks good. What about over here? I can't get a good connection. I need to reset it, looks like. I think it was there, but it times out after a while. All right, 1.2, and this is probably another 1.2. It is. So those are all there. Now, I've had one before with a very weird issue. On this RT5127 or DA9081, whichever one you happen to have, this happens to be the Rich Tech RT5127. There's another voltage rail going into that thing other than 5 volts. There's another rail. I believe there's a 2 volt. Hang on a second. We'll take a quick look at the schematic. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah. If we look right down here, pin 5, this rail right here on this purple colored line, 2.08 volts main. That has to be there or she will not work. So let's see if we have that one. Pin 5. Let me switch to, let me get the microscope up here. There we are. Pin 5 is right, starting on this corner and going counterclockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0.17. .175. So we're not getting our 2 volt into this RT5127. Now, I think when I had this before, it wasn't on this exact revision of board, but the general area that rail comes from is in this area right in here. But it may be on the other side. Let me get my ground clip moved over. I'm thinking somewhere in here. Get that in focus. Let's see, I guess the output of this chip would be on this capacitor here. Let's see what we get. I'm going to give it 12 volts. All right, we're getting that same 0.175, so that's going to be it. It comes out of this chip right here through this coil. But what does it take in? If this is the output, there's only so many legs on this thing. Let me get that down a little bit in the picture. This has got to be the input. And I'm not seeing any input. No. Let me go to resistance. Do we have a short there? We do, 0.12 of an ohm. So this side must be ground. Yeah, that's ground. And this side should not be ground. So do we have a shorted capacitor? Neither one of these looks cracked or anything. I'm thinking this takes in like 5 volts. But I can give it 1 volt. I mean, it's since it's a fraction of an ohm resistance, like 0.1, it was not going to take much voltage in to produce enough heat to find. Let me set up my power supply here for 1 volt. Let me give it like 2 amps. And turn that on. Let's see if it's one of these capacitors right here. These big ones. Yep, is it that one on the left? Oh, or is it just because I'm connecting there? Let me connect the lead to this side. The chip. Let me switch to the full microscope view. And let me get my probe here with a needle on it. It's pretty good for putting voltages. That capacitor just, the alcohol just dissipated off of it without even inserting anything right there. All right, the one on the left is definitely dissipating that alcohol quickest. The chip, no. There's a tiny capacitor over here, but I don't think that's the winner. I think it's this one on the left. Let me crank the current up to 3 amps, which is about all my little supply can put out here, my little bench supply. Yep, evaporated even quicker, didn't it? I think it's that one on the left. It doesn't look like it has a crack in it, but maybe it doesn't have a crack in it, but I do believe it's shorted. Let's get that off of there. And I am wondering if we could have blown a fuse when it shorted. Let's get rid of our short first. So it would let me add a little leaded solder to the contacts just to help encourage it to come on off of there. Maybe not quite that much, but oh well. I'll clean that up. Okay. Is our short gone now? As soon as I find my probes over here. Is it gone now? Yes, I think. Yes, we're in the K ohms. We are in the K ohms now. All right, now I'm trying to remember if there was a fuse feeding that circuitry or not. I'm thinking there was. It would be on the board I worked on before, it was near the 5-volt rail. It was near the 5-volt supply over here. I don't remember the fuse number. Maybe F7001. Right there. Let's just see. What does she measure? Open. Okay, F7001 is open. Okay, yeah, that's very similar. I'm not sure what the size of that capacitor is. We'll figure something out though. But this fuse, let me check. Let me check my list. This is an EDM 033. Which I may grab a copy of this thing's NOR while I'm here. Could be useful later on. Fuses, EDM 033. F7001, is that the... Yes, F7001 is a 5 amp. Let's see if we can get that off of there. I need to, well, that capacitor's right beside it. Let me see if I can get this off with my soldering iron. I can just kind of go right across it here. Right beside that capacitor, I'd hate to melt that or make it go pop. Doesn't want to let go. I'm destroying it though. So I may have to use some hot air to get that fuse on there like I would like. And I'll just have to cover up this little capacitor with some aluminum tape here. Give it a fighting chance there anyway. Alright, now my fuses. Where are my fuses? 0402 fuses. Found them. It's a 2.5 amp. That would be a 5 amp. You can't read it. Trust me, it's a 5 amp fuse. If I have any left, I've used quite a few of these. Looks like I've used about half on this strip. Alright, can we get it on there without losing it though? I'm going to be confident. Yes, we can. Put some flux on there. Alright, she finally sat down. Clean it up a little. And we did not disfigure our capacitor. Always a good day. Make sure that fuse is still good. Pretty sure it is. I don't think I heard it. I get the glare off the meter. Oh yeah. Now let's give this board 12 volts. I know I have not replaced that capacitor yet, but I bet she will still work. Let's see. Let me get a camera set up. Connect 12 volts. Yep, that's the right leads. I want to make sure I wasn't grabbing the leads that I was using to insert 1 volt. Alright, let's give it 12 volts and see what happens. Give me 300 milliamps. Yes, 300 milliamps. Come back down. Alright. Alright, I think she'll turn on now. I really think she will. Let me see if I can find a capacitor to replace that one. I should have one on a donor. I don't really know its value, but it is a rather large one. Well, and then I dropped it. Where'd it go? I'll find it. I heard it hit the board here somewhere. So she'll turn up. Maybe. I heard it hit the board. It's here somewhere. Let me see if I can find a replacement. Alright, well I decided to go ahead and lift the other one, the other capacitor beside the one that was shorted, to get a reading on it. And it shows to be, I'll move this out of the way, maybe you can see it on this camera, about 44 microfarad. So I do have a some 47s here at 10 volts, 0805 size. I'm going to try that in there and see what happens. Well, here we are over on the test bench. I'm ready to see if this is all If this is all that was wrong with this console. I am hoping it was. Let's find out. Blue light. Did not hear a beep. Have to check on the beep settings. Do we get a picture? The HDMI port is going to be changed out though. It's worn out. Can we get a picture? Anything? Maybe. There. Oh, so I go to black. There we are. That's a welcome sight. We are back. Come on, finish it. Come on. Come on. Rebooting again. All right, PlayStation logo. Give me the 3 beeps. Yeah, they're really, really low beeps. That's got to be set for a low. All right, we're working. All right, I need to give this thing a deep cleaning though. It's in pretty nasty shape. Well, I've seen much worse actually, but I do need to clean the case parts, the fan, all these plastic parts will go in the bathtub and get cleaned. So let me do that. So it's going to be a little while here for me anyway. But I'll get it cleaned up, put it back together, and we'll give it a more thorough test. Get a game running on it, that kind of stuff. So I'll be back. Well, this PS5 Digital is fully reassembled. I gave it a thorough cleaning. No problems. I did replace the HDMI port, and also while I was checking out the HDMI port, cleaning it after replacing it, had it all back together, and notice one of the USB ports in the back was also destroyed. So I got to take it all apart again and replace a USB port on the rear. But it's all over with now. It's all working and looking fine. I have connected it to the PlayStation Network, downloaded a game. We're not banned. That's all good things. So I hope you liked that one. Thought it was somewhat interesting, educational, entertaining, any of the above. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. And I'll see you in that very next repair. Bye for now.